And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Let's talk about something important. Put that coffee down.
I'm not here to waste your time.
Everyone has access to the information. We just know how to analyze it better.
Where else you gonna have this much fun?
You the man. You the man.
Todd Father.
Show me the money.
What I've been doing, had to triple my bag. Had to triple my bag. Wow. Had to triple my bag. Wow. Had to triple my bag. Yeah. Had to triple my bag.
60% of the time, it works every time.
That doesn't make sense.
Well, it's no trick to make a lot of money. All you want is to make
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another live episode of Learn Crypto. My name is Nick Hellman.
I'm Todd Butterfield.
It's good to see some people in here. I know it has been a painful few days. How are you? We're going to go over a poll I did on Twitter if I was asking people if they're buying, hodling, selling, or saying screw it to crypto and giving up altogether. So we'll look at those results. Obviously, we haven't been live yet. We've talked about it on Twitter. Coinbase announced they will be adding Ethereum Classic. And obviously, we know they already bought Paradex that is built on top of the 0x protocol. So we'll see how they utilize 0x, whether they list it for liquidity reasons or charge a fee on the Paradex, which would be in 0x. We will see. As you know, I did have that Coinbase video. I chose 5 coins out of the 2,000 out here, and 2 of them happen to be the only coins that have had any interactions with Coinbase lately. So hopefully you watch that video. Hopefully you capitalize on some of those trading opportunities. And really, Ethereum Classic is still very fairly priced here. We saw a little bit of a pump, but not much. I think that's based on, you know, they said they're not going to be listing it for a few months. And we're going to talk about a few reasons that I think ETC is kind of a misunderstood crypto. A lot of people out there saying it's a scam coin and a doo-doo coin. But in my opinion, how is the most regulated cryptocurrency exchange in the world, being Coinbase, who is striving and just started an index, why would they list a scam coin? So I think they're wrong on those. So we're going to talk about that index as well. We got some airdrops for UBIQ and EOS. And then is Tether? Was Tether being fraudulently made and manipulating the market? We'll talk about somebody's 40-page write-up. I think they have maybe 1 or 2 points that might be relevant. And
They made it on CNBC, though.
I think the rest really just kind of missed the point, because I don't know how you guys use Tether. But really, they just described how I used it. So let's jump right into this and see what's going on. Good to see all these names in here. Guys, if you have any questions, always feel free to ask them in here. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And how could I forget? We're going to be giving away some ZenCash. We're taking it out of our wallets for you guys. So make sure to hit that like button, that subscribe button, and leave a comment in the comment section below with your Zen wallet address. We will have 1 winner tonight and 1 winner tomorrow. So if you like free coins, we like to give back to the community. So unfortunately, we're going to have to come over here, and we're going to have to look at some red numbers, guys.
Don't do it.
Oh, man. Oh, gosh. Market cap at $272.5 billion. I think I saw Carter Thomas tweet earlier today that we are around the same exact market cap as last year, right before the Thanksgiving bull run. So that's kind of interesting. So if you got in early last year, you're still up a lot. If you got in late last year, you're probably down on your bags. But if you've made a few good trades and you're here for the long term, I think you're going to be okay. So Bitcoin is down another 3% at $6,379. In the technical analysis Todd did yesterday, he said we could probably break down to 6,400 or 6,350 or 6450 pretty easily.
Is what I thought.
So we've gone a little bit deeper than that. Obviously, we'll see if we can hold in here somewhere. Ethereum is back below $500. Ripple is at 53 cents. I think we were going in and out during the live show, but I did do kind of an overview of Ripple and XRP and how you should differentiate the two of those. So maybe you should go ahead in I think I put it in the review section. Go ahead and watch that video from this weekend as well. And we're seeing a lot of red here. EOS is actually probably the best coin on these top 15 at is negative 0.25%. Now, for a while, guys, you can go back. I think it's been about 3 weeks when all the hype was going on EOS. I said I had a price target around 150,000 Satoshis to 160,000 Satoshis. I think on our last live show, we went down right above that, so my order did not get filled, but we did have a flash crash earlier this morning, so the orders were filled. I think it got as low as 148,000 sats, and now it's back up to 161. So if you guys were looking at some of those price targets, congratulations on getting those bags filled. And we'll see how that one continues to play out. We're going to talk a little bit about how their vote is going and if this mainnet is ever going to go live.
And Tony gave a quick overview right there on the chat about Tether, which is basically all more information than CNBC gave.
That's more information that you got out of reading a 40-page write-up, or that CNBC wanted to get some clicks with some headlines there, in my opinion.
Exactly.
We'll talk about that article here, and really they have one legitimate point, and that's about it. Biggest winners for today in the top 100, CryptoNex up 7%, Decentraland, Mana up 6%. I know Barry Silbert was over there talking about that, and apparently some early investors on property in Mana are making some large gains selling that digital land in that city. I haven't looked at it too much. I've made a couple trades on it, but it's interesting. I mean, it's an interesting concept. It's really hard to wrap my head around purchasing digital real assets, though. Digital real estate.
You can put out some advertising on your land, and
yeah, you can build stores, museums, whatever you want to do, and you can, if you build a museum, you can actually charge, say, artists to hang their art up there for everybody within that ecosystem to have access to it. So it's kind of an interesting idea. I think virtual reality is still a little ways off, and that's really what it's banking on, is that people can go in, use virtual reality, so it makes it feel like you're almost in this digital city, and then you're going to have a real estate market within that ecosystem. I know that one's a little out there for some people. I do not personally own any, but I've seen some interesting write-ups on that. We got Icon sneaking its way back up to the number 22 spot, up 5.37%. So congratulations if you guys are able to have any green winners today. It's been a rough one, that's for sure. Now this one's interesting right here, Swarm. We're going to talk about Swarm real quick, kind of going out of order, but I don't own any, I don't know much, but I just want you guys to at least read this article if you have not. So, Coinbase, Ripple, Blast Company creating tokens in their name. Blockchain startup Swarm announced Wednesday that it was launching a new equity token that would represent equity in notable blockchain startups like Coinbase and Ripple, but those companies have pushed back swiftly against the idea. Yet, when reached for comment, representatives from Coinbase and Ripple struck sharply critical tones, and in the case of Coinbase, a cease and desist has already been sent according to Swarm, resulting in an updated announcement that removed all references to Coinbase. That's kind of interesting. Quote, as a private company, Coinbase does not allow trading of stock on secondary markets for a variety of reasons, including the fact that there is not full and equal information available to the market. We will take appropriate action if we find people have sold Coinbase shares in violation of our agreements not to do so. Also, quote, I think this one is from Ripple. We have never spoken to Swarm, don't have a record of them purchasing Ripple equity, and would not have approved a purchase for this purpose. And then lastly up here, Robinhood also reached out and said to Coinbase, quote, as a company, Robinhood is not aware of Swarm or any such plans to tokenize equity in Robinhood. We are not affiliated with Swarm in any way, shape, or form. Now, I did send a tweet out when it was around, what is it at right now? It was around 11,200 Satoshis. Once I sent the article out, it went down to, I think, maybe 10,000 Satoshis, so a slight dip. But right now it is coming back at 13,462 Satoshis. Now, it is on low volume, so there might be manipulation from the Swarm team. I'm not sure. But my only concern would be, and if somebody in here owns it and knows more about it, let me know. I know that they're posting, they had a whole write-up like, this is our roadmap. We're having tokenization of Coinbase, Ripple, and Robinhood, which are big-name companies, obviously going to get investor attention. And now all three of these companies have come out and said, we've never talked to them, we've never heard of them, we've never agreed to sell equity for that platform and that crypto idea. So just keep an eye out, guys, and if you are a holder, maybe you might want to look into that one. So now we've talked about that a little bit. We'll shoot it over to Todd. I know the charts aren't too pretty. We'll let him do some charting, and then we'll come back here, talk about some of the recent news and some fundamentals on some cryptos, including 3 airdrops coming into play.
But there's a normal Bitcoin chart still showing the triangle, which still really doesn't break any rules. I do think we're doing more like a spring type shakeout action here. So I really think probably the count is more like this if you're an Elliott wave. Because we've always been saying that we had a 3-wave, which seemed pretty obvious up here, that was a 3-wave, so we're working on a 4th wave. And the problem, as I mentioned before, the 4th wave can take quite a few different roadmaps. One is easily ABCX, ABC, which will give us a chance to come down here and stop people out of their longs, initiate shorts, scare everybody. I would say we're extremely scaring everybody. The emotion here is I think, extreme. So, but I think really you try to find coins now that are probably acting better than this chart. So you go back to like an Ethereum. I still think that one is going to explode higher. You know, then you go to Bitcoin Cash is a little bit stronger. You got Dash showing a little bit of weakness. Classic had a quick run to above 16, and then the Bitcoin selling brought in a pretty good correction back down to, what, like 13. Been trading back to 14 and a quarter here. So I would still think that's a good one down.
Yeah, I still think from the fundamentals behind that, we'll talk a little bit about some of the fundamentals behind it and why I think it's misunderstood. But just the mere fact that you're sitting here knowing it's going to be listed on Coinbase here in the near future, and then also that is going to be included in the Coinbase index as well, where institutional and accredited money will enter, and they have to hold the underlying there. I think that is still a very good opportunity right there, and almost a gimme, in my opinion. Now, I can't tell you the multiples on that coin, but I think it's definitely going to be a winner, especially when these markets turn around.
Taj says we're going still to 5,000. So obviously I've been still too bullish, but I can't see 5,000 on it. But you know, we've had that breakdown there before. So I really think even like Litecoin, ABCX, ABC. And if these are Wyckoff accumulation patterns, and somewhere here we'll see really like a rally here to the 125, 130 level on good volume, and then look to buy some type of low volume pullback.
Here we got a pretty high level question here from Tony. Todd, what are your thoughts on the Elliott waivers saying that corrections typically last for 1/3 the duration of the run, and that with a 26-month run, we are looking at 9 months of correction? Now, before you get started on that, it really depends on if you consider all those 26 months to be a run. Granted, it was all a bullish trend and had movements, but if you zoom in on the chart, we had several corrections. We had one in September of last year that was pretty big, and we had another one that earlier in the year that percentage-wise was like 40 or 50% correction. So I don't know if you would consider all 26 of those months to be a run.
Yeah, I mean, really, if you take a Bailey wave, they'd be calling it starting from 7/13 of 2017 then, I would think. So, because this is a 1, 2, 3, 4. So, you know, we've had quite a bit of correction already. So I really think time-wise we've had enough of a correction. And then let's go back to XRP, still a little bit stronger. I think XRP could still be good from here. So OMG down to 878. Still, if you look back at it, not a bad looking chart, just back down to support. Let's go through a few of these other ones. ADA, I mean, holding well above the low in late March. So I'm still impressed. I mean, I guess I'm looking for coins that are still holding above those lows because that's showing some outperformance, like a Decred. Decred did come down to the 82, 83 support that I'd mentioned. I would think that's going to be a spring left on the charts, and we're going to go higher. And then what? EOS, $10. I think that'll be a spring just like this one that got left behind. I know that's kind of a coin everyone's kind of arguing about. You still got Made in not acting too bad.
Maybe you should explain what's going on there with those markings in the chart for everybody.
On the MAID?
Yeah.
I mean, really, we're just back down to previous, down at the bottom end of the trading range again. So I had marked that a sign of strength and last point of support. We've came back to that. The volume definitely supported. We had good volume on the rally and lower volume on the pullback, except for here just in the last bar or so. So, but I think we're just back to previous support. And then VEN BTC. I would think VEN still looks good here. I know they had that news with Doji something, where they did some trucking business.
Yeah, they're starting to get some real-world applications for their RFID technology, which I've kind of been talking about here with the meetings that I forget which it was. Maybe it was the Senate or something was having, saying the real use case they see right off the bat for blockchain technology and some of these cryptos is the supply chain ecosystem with transferring assets and trading material across the world. So I think you're going to start seeing that being implemented. They're starting to get partnerships. They got backing from a government, etc. And then the ones that came to mind were VeChain, Wabi, Walton Chain. So you guys need to look into those and kind of keep up to date with if they're getting any real world adoption, because that essentially drives utilization of their network, which I continue to say the networks that get utilized the most automatically have the ability to gain in value, because you're looking at finite token supplies. And if you have more utilization, then supply and demand comes into effect, and then you actually have a purpose for that token. Therefore, price is going to continue to rise with that utilization.
And that's why you got that chart looking so well. So, because that chart looks really well. Here's ZRX. Then again, way above the late March lows. So I think ZRX is good here as well. I don't think you can go wrong holding that. Shout out to Taj. You did pick up that Ethereum at 470. I would not have guessed that. And Tony gives us, Doji Bond. That's all I got right now.
Sweet. I guess I'll steal it back. If you guys have got any questions or anything, go ahead and start asking them. We're going to go over a couple news articles. Some of these you may have already seen. Also, we will give our opinion on them and how they affect the macro perspective in this market. First, though, XRP had a several-day vote going on with 3 options for a new logo. And this is what they decided on. Yep, that's it right there. I think they have a black and white version too. I don't know what you guys think about it. I looked at the options for the voting. I thought this one was the least appealing out of the 3, because at least the other 2 used XR and P in their vision there. But really, I put this out today because I said, in my opinion, the one major advantage XRP was brand recognition. Now they go ahead and change not only their logo, but their color scheme as well. Minor details, but poor decision from my perspective. And the reason I say that, they've made it to top 3 in the cryptocurrency space. Bitcoin has brand recognition. Everybody sees that B in a window. They know what it is. Ripple is number 3. Everybody knows what XRP is, the logo, the vision, the etc. And they do this vote. I think it's kind of silly. And I think I talked to somebody in here and I was like, look historically at Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Shell, etc. I don't know what other ones I listed. Their color schemes always stay the same and their logo stays relatively similar, because that way people buy what they recognize and they feel safe getting into. People buy Coke over, whatever Schnucks' brand of Coke because they're used to seeing it. They see it as a brand name item. Why do you pay so much extra dollars for an Adidas shirt versus a Target shirt? You're paying for the logo on the shirt. That is what it is. So I just thought that was kind of interesting that they decided to do that. I was looking deeper into it. They said they wanted to be able to differentiate Ripple from XRP, kind of like the video I talked about. So they didn't want the color schemes to be the same. I thought that was also interesting, because if you're an investor in XRP, you don't want Ripple and XRP to be differentiated. That's part of the mania that rose to the price height of XRP, is the fact that everybody thought everything Ripple did, you had to utilize XRP token, which isn't entirely true. So them saying, hey, we're kind of doing this so we can kind of differentiate ourselves and our business models, I don't think is really good for Ripple holders personally. If you have different opinions on a logo change, or if I'm looking too deep into that, you can go ahead and let me know in the comment section.
And Max Expo, what's the next coin going to Coinbase?
If I would, all I know is Armstrong, okay, the CEO and founder of Coinbase. If you look back a couple years ago, it's in that Coinbase video, gave a big shout out to the basic attention token and the Brave platform, and literally said, this is the exact kind of cryptocurrency that we hope to add to our platform in the future. I mean, that's coming straight from the horse's mouth. So you can look at that however you want. They have a working product, although it does have some loopholes, etc. If the man says this is the exact type of product we would want to list on our exchange, you might want to take his word for it. So talking about Coinbase, Coinbase Index Fund is open for investment. Coinbase Index Fund is now open for investments of $250,000 all the way to $20 million per investor. I know you guys all got $20 million laying around, so go ahead and throw it into this ecosystem. We've seen overwhelming interest from investors since we announced the fund earlier this year. At this stage, we have opened the fund to those who wish to invest $250,000 to $20 million. Coinbase Index Fund gives investors exposure to all assets listed on our exchange, weighted by market capitalization. So it will be a cap-weighted fund. So you're going to expect the highest weight would be Bitcoin, then Ethereum, then Litecoin, or no, then Bitcoin, then Litecoin, and then Ethereum Classic. They do say will be held here. So as we announced yesterday, the fund will be rebalanced to include Ethereum Classic and more assets when they are listed by Coinbase in the future. At this stage, Coinbase Index Fund is only open to U.S. resident accredited investors. I'm assuming you would be accredited if you're willing to put $250,000 into the market. We are working on launching more funds which are accessible to all investors and cover a broader range of digital assets. I would assume with Coinbase going ahead and moving into the Japanese ecosystem, getting a headquarters over there, the next index fund will be Japanese compliant. And I can almost say that for certainty. Maybe that would come, I would assume, shortly after Ethereum Classic is added to Coinbase here, gets in the index here. Then when everything goes live in Japan, Ethereum Classic probably will be on that platform and be in the index over there. Now that's all an assumption, but it kind of makes sense that they're going to do US first, then a Japanese index next. So I think that's interesting. You guys have to understand that this index is so important because it's not like futures. They have to hold the underlying. That means if these people come in here with $20 million, they're going to get a market cap weighted index made up of those 4 assets and soon to be 5 assets. Been talking about this for a while, and it looks like it might start becoming a reality. What do you got over there, Todd?
Did you talk about something? Did we talk about a week ago when Coinbase bought Keystone Capital, the broker-dealer?
I don't think we really talked about that.
Yeah, I think that one got slid by. That was June 6th, because they're buying a California-based financial firm that'll clear its path to operate as a registered broker-dealer, because they're going after investment advisors and all that, so they're going to offer cryptos to their to all those people, and then they're going to offer stocks to their crypto holders. So, I mean, Coinbase is going to take over. I think they're going to take over everything. But they're going to have it with the broker-dealer. I mean, they're going to go back to registered investment advisors like myself and going to make it where you can bring in your clients. But that's...
And then you can invest a portion of your clients' money into the index.
That looks like a mad run to cryptos to me.
We shall see. Also, guys...
today I didn't do a technical analysis video because me and Carrie in the office, we're busy sending out emails and blasting different things to traditional investors to get them in cryptos.
There you go.
I want to go on record that I'm, sending that out down here to all those people because they're going to chase them. It's a lot higher.
Yeah, and so, I mean, we say this all the time. You guys got to, each individually, to grow the crypto ecosystem and the utilization of cryptocurrencies. I mean, obviously, it's going to help benefit the price, and we're all here for the investment gains. But really, the real reason of cryptocurrency, and if you actually believe in the use case for crypto, you got to go out each and every day and talk to your friends, your family, explain it to them. Maybe get them on board Coinbase. Maybe show them how a wallet works. Maybe show them how to mine, etc., and really show people how these things work.
We did that last night at the Cardinals game.
Yep, so we did have a suite. We were at a Cardinals game. It was a business meeting we got invited to from what's their proper term? They just like a...
financial planning firm.
Yeah, like a financial planning firm, primarily for people in the medical field, so doctors, orthopedic surgeons, etc. And we had a bunch of people asking us about cryptocurrencies, and we actually had one person say, hey, all right, he got the Coinbase app, he took our referral link, and he said he's going to put $1,000 in to play around with it, and then dip his toes in, learn more about it, and continue to dollar cost average into the ecosystem. And that is also the one that we did a presentation to all the employees there, because they had a bunch of clients that were talking to them, and they needed a little more information on it. So as their clients need help, they're going to send them over to this community. We're going to try to help them along the way, get them invested, get them integrated into the crypto ecosystem, and really do everything that we can here by being on YouTube and talking to everybody in the real world to get more people involved in cryptocurrencies.
Yes, sir.
So, Binance, if you guys did not know, I know there's a lot of things going on with EOS. The mainnet launched, but the mainnet is not live. In order for the mainnet to go live, they have to receive a 15% consensus vote. Seems simple enough. The only problem is a lot of the ways in which holders can vote, you have to put in your private keys. So that means you have to have it in a wallet on your desktop, and then you have to be willing to give up your private keys and trust the EOS development team. Not saying they're not trustworthy, but what's the first thing you learn when you get into cryptos? Never give your private keys to anybody. So I think that's been a little bit of a hurdle. I think when we first started talking about it, they had about 2 or 3% of the vote. I think they're up to 7% now, so they're slowly but surely getting there. Also, you have to keep in mind, guys, a lot of people simply hold their EOS on exchanges. When your EOS is on the exchange, you do not have a private key, and therefore you cannot participate in the voting. So we'll see how long this takes. I think that's why you're seeing the pullback. Obviously, the mainnet launched, but it is not live. But I was surprised that we didn't get a little bit more of a bounce from this announcement. Binance will be supporting the airdrops for EOS, the IQ airdrop, the DAC airdrop, and the EON airdrop. So 3 airdrops coming to you if you hold EOS on Binance, as long as these 3 projects do contact Binance. So based on feedback received from our community, Binance would like to confirm support for the following EOS airdrops. We invite these 3 project teams to email us to further discuss the airdrop plan, as well as the distribution details to Binance users. If Binance does not receive any correspondence and or the project teams refuse to transfer the corresponding airdrop amounts to Binance, the airdrops will not be supported by default. So these are not guaranteed just yet, but it does show you that the Binance development team is ready to take on those airdrops. And this is another reason Binance stays at the top for all exchanges. They try to incorporate as many airdrops, forks, you get random distributions if you are a BNB top holder, and I think this is why they're going to continue to find success. And, you know, a lot of people are like, well, they popped up out of nowhere. Can you trust them? I mean, they're doing all the things right now, and this reminds me a lot of the early Coinbase, where everybody's like, oh, I don't know, they're being really ambitious. And look what they're dabbling into now. I think this can be a big winner, and your best way to buy equity in Binance is through their BNB token. And I think if they start to create a decentralized exchange in their own blockchain where that BNB is needed to utilize those platforms, that could be a big winner, guys. What do we got going on in the chat box? Let's take a little break. Do you guys have any charts? Any charts that you want Todd to look at? I know that a lot of them look the same, but if maybe you're looking for a lower resistance point or a time to buy, maybe Todd can help you out over there.
And I know nobody wants to hear it, but the developers are adding the API with the 89 exchanges. So, you know, everyone says I'm never releasing the software, but I did show it on here. It was working, but it's not working enough for me to put my money on it. So I've got to keep working till it gets there. And I know how it works for the stock side. So, you know, and I got to have more exchanges. We got to have more consolidated volume. So.
Tony says, Nick, did you see that Bitfinex vote to use their EOS tokens to help push the mainnet free? I voted no just to slap EOS in the face. I did not realize that. So that's really goes back to what I was saying. A lot of the holders are on exchanges, and you really can't vote from the exchange. It looks like Bitfinex did some dirty work there to, I guess, free up those private keys or allow some integration with that voting system. I guess that is what pushed it up from 3 to 7%. They're still only about halfway there, guys. And if this thing takes much longer, I think you're going to see even lower prices on EOS. I still like EOS as a protocol. I still think they got a bright future and a bright vision. Obviously, there's more and more competitors coming into the space. But you have to remember, they have $4 billion. $4 billion to make it work. If you can't make it work with $4 billion, I don't know what you're doing. Anybody got any charts that you want Todd to look at? Somebody typed in USD.
I got VERI up here. I can't say much about that one. Back down to November, December levels. I mean, short term, this could have been a quick spring down here and a test. Volume doesn't really support that, but that's volume from HITB. So
somebody wants you to look at Linda coin, if you will. I'll talk about Linda because I held your guys' hands through a nice 30% trade yesterday if you were a Linda holder or if you followed me on Twitter. If you didn't take action or didn't take advantage of that trade, and you still are holding, Linda, I think you'll be all right. Their wallet will be released in 17 days, so you can begin staking on that wallet or spin up a masternode to earn some passive income.
There was that D-bet someone asked about the last time we was live. That chart still looks holding in there extremely well.
Craig says go for perfection only on the software. And that's really the biggest thing, guys. Like, that the original version was great for Todd to use on PCG clients and us to show on the channel. But if anybody is going to be paying any amount of money for a subscription, a monthly fee to utilize it, to help to have us give you lessons on how to use it, etc., we're not going to put some junk, because that's not what we want to do. We want to have things that actually work. We want to be here for the long term with you guys. And we're not going to sit here and go live every single day and continue doing recordings and have a private client group with a plain shitty software. That's just not what we're going to do.
The bar chart, bar chart just didn't have what I thought they would have, because they got a premier stock feed. So I guess that was somewhat my fault. I didn't want to go to some somewhat no-name API, and so now there's been a little bit of time go by, and Vladimir told me who he would use, and if we get 89 exchanges come into the software and the kinks worked out, I think we'll be good. So, and obviously, I've spent thousands of dollars and wasted tons of time, and also haven't traded as well recently. So I'm wanting that software more than anybody. So, and if the software's too good, then I'll just keep it for myself.
We're not doing that.
And PCG clients.
All right.
And we just want to sell it to subscribers.
Where do you think LTC can fall here? And then somebody wants you to look at NEO. They said NEO USD, my low supports are at $32.30. Your opinions?
I had mentioned Litecoin could maybe spike down to 93, I think, on the last broadcast. We've done a little deeper than that. We're right at 93. So I'd prefer not to see much more, even though I did see somebody say it was going to go to $1.50 earlier. If it goes to $1.50, then we're going to have a hot dog eating contest.
Here's what I just want to say real quick before you get to the NEO chart. I want you to think about this for a second, guys. If you are Fidelity, you're Goldman Sachs, you're NASDAQ, you're Coinbase, are you going to take all this time, effort, research, and development to put all these institutional outlets to create custodies, to create trading desks, if you think investors are not going to buy it, or if you don't already have investors lined up? That's what I want you to ask yourself. Think of all the time, how long we've been saying institutional money's coming because they've been working on these trading desks. Coinbase finally releases this index. They had to figure out all the regulation behind it. They had to figure out a way to have custody of those coins and create a market-weighted index like you see in traditional markets. Do you think they would do that if they didn't think money was going to flow into this ecosystem? And I think there's only one answer to that, and that is no. And I think all that money, institutional investors are going to have access to the coins that are in these indexes and on the trading desks. To start, they're going to do the safest bets, and it's probably going to be top 5 coins, top 10 coins, etc. And that's where the money's going to flow first. So, I have some small cap coins. Yep. I have some coins that people might call shit coins. Yep. But I still have in my portfolio these large coins. And I think when they bounce, they're going to bounce hard. We've seen this in the past. So, adding more down here or trying to maybe do a quick swing trade during the bear market, that's good and grand, but just don't miss out on the upside, because I know everybody here watching, I recognize the names every day. You guys have been in this ecosystem for a long time, and it'll be a shame if you get washed out at the bottom of the downtrend and after you didn't take any profits at the top. So that's all I got to say. I'm still bullish on this, and that's my opinion with all this institutional money.
Right. In my opinion, I'm from traditional, and I've said it all along because I don't change my stories ever. I hardly know anybody in cryptos because my client base hasn't done it, don't want to hear about it. So I mentioned, January 5th that the markets were getting frothy. I thought we would have a pretty decent correction, not this deep, because I felt like that was a blow off with only a few % of the people invested in cryptos. So I knew it was emotional short term, but I still felt like that the real money still isn't here, but it is coming. Now it's coming maybe a little bit slower, but it's going to get geared up. And the room we was in last night had a ton of money.
That's what I was going to say. We were in a room, business meeting room, with everybody wanting to do investments. 42 people were there. 42 people that all make $100,000 or more. Some of them much more than that. Guess how many people own cryptocurrencies? Outside of me and Todd?
Just talking about it.
One person. Guess how much money they had in cryptocurrency? $5,000. That's it. Now, if you're telling me money's here, it's not.
But they're hearing, Goldman Sachs is doing a trading desk. They're hearing Fidelity is talking about an exchange. They're hearing the NASDAQ's talking about an exchange. They're hearing Coinbase is doing all this. So, I think there's so much money coming that I'm trying to be prepared for that.
Well, let's get back to the charts. We'll get back to this. I think you need to look at the NEO chart. And then also somebody asked about Ven. We did just look at Ven, but I'm sure he can blip that back up there real quick for you.
I mean, there's NEO. I think, if
you're in
the volume is just came down to drastic levels here, considering. But again, this is Bittrex, so Bittrex volume has came down because they're going to other exchanges to trade some of these coins.
Yeah, Bittrex has fallen all the way down to like number 12 or 20 or something like that.
Right. So again, that's why, need consolidated volume to be able to talk about all volume from all exchanges, look for the divergences and inharmonious action, etc. So,
and also another macro reason why people really don't trade NEO on the Bittrex platform is they don't reward you gas. So why would you store your NEO over there when you can store it on another trustworthy exchange now in Binance, who does pay you out gas on a monthly basis, or KuCoin, who pays you out gas on a daily basis? You got to keep that in mind, guys. You got to look at all these different macro things that go on with these coins, why they're traded better on different exchanges based on the geography and location of those exchanges, etc.
And a lot of people, there's Anonymous saying, this next rise is going to be bigger than anything we've seen. So, and a lot of people, that we probably respect, saying that, this is like the first rally in NASDAQ before the big one, and then before even the FANG stocks have taken off. So I think the key is have the right coins, because that's going to make the difference between small gains or huge gains.
Yeah, we're kind of bouncing that idea around. The next bull run, I think the tides will pretty much raise all coins except maybe the scamiest of coins. And once the next bubble pops, you're going to have the, quote, equivalent to the FANG stocks today, the ones who survived the tech bubble. So if you're in the proper coins, you'll see another bull run after this next one. And there might be here to stay, guys, as long as they're being utilized and blockchain continues to produce real-world applications. I think those winning coins are going to be here for years and decades ahead, and maybe be a notable part of your lifestyle without you even knowing. So we'll see.
Yeah, CNBC doesn't represent very well. And Tony's making comments here about, at some point, cryptos will be a part of a mutual fund company, et cetera. So when someone wants to increase their risk, it's going to, by default, include some crypto.
They're going to have 5% in the Coinbase index.
In the past, it would have included some commodities when they started commodity indexes years ago. But that Novogratz kind of talked about that when you make sea changes in some of this stuff and add indexes and add index funds, it just starts money flowing into that area. And this area, by a little bit of money, would go bonkers again.
So I want to go quickly over 2 more articles, and then they want you to look at QSP, and I'm sure they'll have some more charts as well. And if you guys have any fundamental questions, if I can answer those for you, I would love to do that. So let's go ahead and do this. So we talked about the EOS airdrops being supported by Binance. If you are a UBIQ holder, you have probably already participated in the first Escher airdrop that occurred last quarter in April. Now the second Escher airdrop is underway. The first one, you got 12 Escher for every 1 UBIQ. This one, you get 6 Escher for every 1 UBIQ. And it is going to end at block 536,000, so some point in July. They don't really have a finite date because it really depends on how much hashing power goes on their network. UBIQ has been a pretty big disappointment in the protocol area, but I would definitely say if you already own it, or it's had a pretty big price dip too, so maybe you want to do some of your own research on that too. Might be able to see a nice flip over there, but it's definitely worthwhile to do the smart contract. It takes about 5 or 10 minutes. They walk you through step by step. If you click on this blue box here, they walk you through step by step for each individual wallet. It'll take 5-10 minutes, and you'll be all set. And once the airdrop occurs, it automatically banks those Escher to your wallet, all in one place, easy to use. And also the nice thing about this is you actually get to learn how a smart contract works, because essentially what you're doing here is they're not saying, hey, we're just going to send it to you. They want you to learn how smart contracts work within their wallet and understand how and what the actual general use case purpose is for these coins. So I think it's interesting. You learn a little bit, you get the airdrop, and then the airdrop is actually used as their governance token. So they actually just had their first vote over there. It had 50% participation. You know, EOS is trying to get 15%. They got 50% participation with a 96 or 91% voted yes. They're actually switching or looking to switch their proof of work algorithm. I haven't looked at too much into the new algorithm, but I'm sure that is in reply to some of the A6 and or 51% attacks that have been happening on the proof of work. So congratulations to the UBIQ community for getting such a large amount of support over there with this new Escher ecosystem and governance system they're creating. So I think that is interesting, and make sure to get over to this website and claim yours if you are a UBIQ holder. Now, we got to get to it. We got to see your guys' opinion on Tether manipulation. Pushed up Bitcoin prices. Researchers find researchers that definitely know all about cryptocurrencies. The US dollar pegged Tether has been used to support Bitcoin's price during market downturns, a new study published by the University of Texas at Austin professors. The published study states that researchers used, quote, algorithms to analyze the blockchain data. We find that purchases with Tether are timed following market downturns and result in sizable increases in the Bitcoin prices. Why do you guys buy USD Tether, and what do you use it for? What do you use it for, Todd? Why would you buy Tether?
To manipulate Bitcoin? That's what the guy said from Texas or wherever.
When I buy Tether,
he looks smarter than me. So
I think that the market or the coin is moving downward. So I buy Tether to hedge against the cryptocurrency market. When do I spend it?
Right, I buy Tether when I'm scared to death.
When do you spend your Tether? You buy the effing dip. So let's lay this out for you. We find that purchases with Tether are timed following market downturns and result in sizable increases in Bitcoin prices. So people sell their Bitcoin here at 20K. We then have a downturn because everybody's selling their Bitcoin. That's how a market works. Once people feel that we have hit a bottom, what do? You spend the Tether to buy Bitcoin. What happens when you have more buyers than sellers? The market goes up and the price of Bitcoin goes up. Whoa.
Dude, I was totally lost by what he was saying.
You need a PhD to figure out how a market works here.
This guy must have learned about...
However,
I didn't want to say.
However, the two notably discovered that it does not take a large amount of Tether to prop Bitcoin's price. Even less than 1% of extreme exchange of Tether for Bitcoin has substantial aggregate price effects. Okay, guys, we're getting back to this again. If I put $1 million worth of Tether into Bitcoin, what's going to happen to the Bitcoin price? It's probably going to go up. If people seeing it going up and see my order for $1 million worth of Bitcoin, what are you going to do? You're probably going to buy Bitcoin too. So what's going to happen? The price is going to go higher. Now, this is the only thing that they might have a legitimate point here, and I would need to look further into. The algorithms the two developed were able to, quote, cluster groups of related Bitcoin wallets. These could be Bitcoin whales. According to the study, this allowed the researchers to map how Tether was distributed and how it impacted Bitcoin prices. The study explains that, quote, Tether is created, moved to Bitfinex, and then slowly moved out to other crypto exchanges, mainly Poloniex and Bittrex. So I don't know if they're saying that Tether is just created out of thin air and these are actually Bitfinex employees deploying it into the markets. I'm not positive on that. So that's the only thing that I would have to question. But all the other statements...
Right, it's like our clients are taking the money to Polo and Bittrex and investing.
That's how a market works.
Because those exchanges were hot then. Now they'd say, well, now it looks like they're taking it to Binance.
This one kind of is laughable here too. It continued on to note that generally the token is not redeemed by the issuer, and the major exchange where Tether can be exchanged for USD Kraken accounts only for a small portion of transactions. Why won't the token be redeemed by you guys? You can't turn USD Tether into fiat to your bank account. What do you have to do? You have to buy Bitcoin on Coinbase and have them go ahead and sell Bitcoin for USD for your bank. You can't redeem USD Tether. They almost act as if USD Tether is just another cryptocurrency that is being utilized to manipulate the Bitcoin price. And they're going over the entire fact that why USD Tether was created. It's a coin, it's a stable coin created to be pegged to the US dollar, to be utilized as an easy way for individuals to not have to make taxable events. And that way you can hedge against the market and deploy it on dips. That's the whole purpose. So I thought this was a whole bunch of hogwash. I think it is embarrassing. And I think CNBC with their clickbait stuff is the very reason we're finding ourselves in this space to begin with. A lot of individuals can't look at the bigger picture and they don't understand. They just see on CNBC that, oh, more manipulation, sell Bitcoin, don't buy it, it's a scam, used for drugs, etc. Everything they said here is like level 1 in your financial Kaya examination. Chapter 1, you realize how markets work with buyers and sellers. I mean, there's nothing here that has any kind of legitimacy to me.
CNBC quoted Bitfinex. Bitfinex was like BS. I mean, they almost said you don't understand how it works. Because there was like, I forget what, it was like 2 or 3 sentences, but it's like, totally shut it all down, I thought.
Yeah, and so, Anthony here also brings it up. Taxable event. I don't want to sell Bitcoin for USD dollars because every time I do that, it will be on the history of my bank account. Therefore, I will pay taxes on that. Now, with the gray area right now in regulation, if I sell to USD Tether, there's not a taxable event for me to give to my accountant there. And that way, when Bitcoin goes down further, guess what? I buy it. I mean, I think that's the whole purpose of USD Tether. And I think they're a little out of sync there. You got a couple charts over there, Todd?
Well,
let me know if you guys feel any different. But
Steam. Here's Steam USD. I mean, I would just think we're testing the previous low down here at $1.36 or so. So that one's not weaker than everything else. So I'd have no problem with Steam here. And then we got the VEN BTC we talked about a little bit before. I think VEN goes higher. The real world cases that we just talked about, I think VEN's a good one.
Somebody wants you to look at QSP.
And then we've got QSP USD.
That is coming all the way back down to initial support.
And then there is QSP BTC. So again, I don't know. I mean, I don't think they're too bad holding these lows or near these lows. They're not waterfall declining.
Yeah, and QSP is one that essentially is auditing blockchains and some of these cryptos. The problem is they've been under some FUD here because initially when their ICO went live, they said that all of these audits you have to hold 200,000 quant stamp. Therefore, you start to get a value proposition on the quant stamp as the supply is taken off the market. But apparently their last couple audits, they accepted Ethereum for one of them and they accepted USD for another. So you can look at it as one of two ways. Either they are lying and the QSP token is not going to have any future value proposition because they're going to accept whatever currency they want to for these audits. Or during this down market where the QSP is losing value, and that's really what they're using to fund their project, they are willing to take Ethereum or US dollars to kind of help them grow and develop out their business as we're in this downturn. And that way they will be better suited to take on some more audits here in the near future when the market turns around. So on that one, you know, you can look at it as FUD or truth. I'm not positive. I like the fundamentals behind QSP, but I would have to look deeper to see into the team whether or not it's number 1 or number 2 of the 2 explanations I just talked about.
And there's KMD, someone asked about. I mean, they're again a little bit weaker than I would like, but I would think still down to decent value.
Anon says that if this is true, then the US dollar is manipulating the stock market. Exactly. That's the exact equivalent. That's hilarious.
I'd rather be, like I said before, like ZRX. I like that coin better. I like the VEN better. I like Ethereum. I like some of the coins that showed some strength here. HSR, see if that's on TradingView. HSR BTC on Binance. I mean, that's pretty weak coming in from September. It didn't have, it got hurt September, October. Obviously, this was a selling climax and an automatic rally. So the chart by itself doesn't look too bad. And we are holding up relatively much better here shorter term versus late March or April. So, and then we had good volume on the rally and lower volume on the pullback. So that one could be all right here. I'd probably take a shot at HSR.
Tony says, I spent 1 hour with the chief compliance officer of Bitfinex, and he said they want an investigation because they feel that's the only way the industry will let them off the hook for a, quote, lack of transparency. There you go. Tony does a lot of meetups, and I trust him, so I would take his word for that. And if that is what the chief compliance officer is saying, I don't think that he would be bluffing there. You don't really bluff about those kind of things. So there you go. You can create whatever decision you want on that.
And Bud Time, 79 people watching. First of all, this is live, so more people will watch it recorded. And also, obviously, Bitcoin search on YouTube or Google, everything is down tremendously. That's how the markets work. when we're back to 30,000 Bitcoin, there'll be a lot more viewers here buying at the wrong time.
Yeah, missing out on the dip right here. All right, I'll go ahead and this is the last thing we're going to talk about. So why did Coinbase list ETC? I'm not going to go through this entire article. This is already linked in the description below, actually, guys, in our first section there, if you want to read more. The reason I listed it there is because it kind of goes over the hysteria with ETC fans, how the XRP fans lost their mind, everybody calling ETC a scam coin, a shit coin. That's another thing. I think the terms, if you were back in this several years ago, the term scam coin, shill, shit coin, were not used lightly. Usually when you use them, you were followed it up with a bunch of facts and or a full write-up based on your findings. Now they're used at any given time for any given reason. So make sure if you're using that vocabulary that maybe we can try to revert this back to a higher level thinking where when you use this vocabulary, you came at it with a write-up and facts. Because that's how it used to be back in the day, and now everything is a shitcoin. I'm telling you right now, if Ethereum Classic was a scam, the most highly regulated crypto exchange in the world, Coinbase, would not be adding it. That's just the matter of fact. So, but anyways, it goes through here, kind of talks about the GDAX digital framework. It talks about the development teams on ETC, tells you about their technology, how they came about, etc. And I think they also have a roadmap in here as well. So if you don't own ETC but are looking at maybe getting into it before Coinbase News, maybe looking at mining it, I think that you should click on this link as it has a nice overview, broad overview for you to really get a concept of what they're trying to do.
And I'm going to interrupt because I'm having a little bit of issue with trading views, so we might be catching a little bit of something.
Uh-oh.
So if we get knocked off, we are done for the night because we're almost done anyway.
Yeah, so if you guys have any last questions, comments, concerns, let us know now. Also, guys, don't forget to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Hit that like button and subscribe button. Leave a comment in the comment section below with your ZenCash wallet address. It is on Binance and Bittrex, so there's no excuses. We will pick one winner from tonight's show and one winner from tomorrow's live show. So 2 lucky winners will be adding some Zen to their bags. What do we got going on in the chat box? Glad you guys are all here. Glad everybody's having fun. And, you know, it's painful. There's a lot of red. But you're here at the right time. I always preach dollar cost average. Do your passive income with mining, staking, etc. Linda's been doing pretty well. ECA's been doing pretty well, especially if you're staking. And Twitter. Our Twitter handles are down there. Yesterday, me and Tony were talking about the Linda as that thing was exploding. When it was up about 60%, I tweeted out, hey, this thing's looking pretty heavy here around 45 Satoshis. I went ahead and sold mine and whatnot. Within an hour, they announced another partnership with Redcoin. And it fell all the way down to 32, 33 Satoshis. Hit my buy orders. You guys had all day and today. Right now, it's still at 33 Satoshis. So if you made that trade, you added a nice, cool 20, 25% Linda coin to your wallets. And it was a good opportunity. So just make sure to follow us. You know, this is not financial advice. I was just telling you what I was doing with my own coins. And maybe some people capitalized on that.
I think if John says, what are we buying? I mean, I think chart-wise, Decred might be the sleeper here. So Tosh says I was right. My internet is getting worse.
Yeah, we dropped 720 frames, but it looks like we're back on.
Hold up sign, John says.
Hold up sign.
Right.
Hey guys, I still look. I don't want to be called a shill. You know, I own it and I'm mining it. I've been in talks with Rob. They did a 2-week community update today. If you guys want to go on YouTube and look for Zen's YouTube and see all the things on the horizon, they already will be implementing new code in their proof of work and node structure to potentially, according to the test, make it so it is 2 times harder to do a 51% attack on their network than it is even to Bitcoin. So I'm interested to see the tech that they're working over there. And they said they'll have it done within 2 weeks. They also announced a new exchange. They announced a couple new projects. I think, I've been posting my long-term 1-day channel, and right now they are bouncing off that bottom trend line that I was saying I would look to buy at. They have bounced off of that trend line. It's up about 30,000 Satoshis off that channel as well. That's up to you guys. I know a lot of people already own it, but I definitely would not be giving into the FUD with the Palm Beach Confidential putting out a sell order and the 51% attack. I think they're doing everything they can, and they have a really bright future. So that's just me. That's my fundamental perspective. This is not financial advice.
So everybody knows Anthony did change his username to Tony M, so he'll still be the one dropping some knowledge once in a while. And John, I mentioned Decred. I think Decred looks good here. So that's not investment advice, but I think that's one that looks good here. And then some of the other ones I mentioned before, Ven.
Decred could be interesting. I did do that review on Decred. Had about what also I want to reiterate is, you know, we get between 700 to 1,000 views on the live shows, and a lot of these interviews and reviews get less usually. Besides like some of the bigger ones like ECA and Linda. I want to reiterate, if you guys are watching this, you should really watch that because it presents a ton of facts about these projects and straight from the horse's mouth and the founders, all in like a 10 to 20 minute video. We've seen massive gains and massive information found in those, so I'll definitely check those out. The Decred review, the reason I think it could be interesting play here, obviously it's finding Todd's support, but also they are restructuring the staking process over there to allow more retail investors like us to be able to stake on their network. Up until now, it costs about $9,000 of investment in DCR in order to be able to stake. Now they're going to be able to split up that contract, where I think right now you need a minimum of 5 DCR. I'm not sure on the price, so that's more feasible, about $500. And they're looking to even further reduce that to 1 DCR, so about $85. So definitely interesting there. I'm going to keep an eye on it. I do not own any Decred, so I do give props to coins that I don't own. I just don't have the capital to put them in my portfolio right now. But I think if they reduce that staking cost, I will be trying to stake on that network.
That's all I got.
Johnny John, real quick, I'll answer your question here. Hey, Lawrence, you put your Zen address there, so when this gets posted, leave it in the static comment section below the video. That way I can find it. So go ahead and leave another comment after this is posted. And Johnny Johnson, Nick, are the ECA staking rewards given away every month, or is it longer? So right now, if you have it on their desktop wallet, and you hover over that globe in the top left corner, at the bottom it'll tell you if you're staking, yes or no, and it'll tell you when your next payout will be. As you have the coins in there longer and they gain more weight, that reward time continues to shrink down until your payout. Now, they do have a hard fork coming up soon, and part hard fork is they are going to be increasing the amount of staking rewards that you get. Essentially, that time is going to be reduced no matter how many coins or weight you have. So right now it's based on a weight system. So if you have more coins, like if I have more coins than you, I will get my stake reward before you. After this fork, everybody's going to get staking rewards more consistently, no matter what your weight is. You would just receive less of a reward. So I look forward to that as well, because that allows a lot of people, maybe the people that just won 10, 20,000 ECA on here, to be able to stake and still earn those staking rewards in a timely manner.
Thanks for that information. You got the information.
There you go.
What up, Tree Man? He's out of here.
I think that's about all the questions I have. See you over here. So until next time, guys, stay tuned for your daily updates on cryptocurrencies right here at Learn Crypto.
Peace out.
Oh, hey, stay positive, pal. Most people, when they lose, they whine and quit. But you got to be there for the turns. Everybody's got good luck. Everybody's got bad luck. Don't run when you lose.
Play hard, play clean. Be careful out there.
We'll see you all again. Sleep tight.